If I could be your only, I would. All right, are we rolling? Welcome back to Talkville, folks. The only, well, not the only, but the only rewatch podcast with Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, and Ryan Tayez.
Mr. Ryan.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Mr. Ryan is here. Mr. Welling is here. Bryce is listening in case we say anything
Mr. Tom to
he
you.
doesn't like. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening and following us. Without you, we wouldn't be here. We do it because we love it, but, thank you for being a patron. If you're not a patron, patreon.com/talkville. And by joining, you help the podcast. You're actually giving to the podcast so we can be sustainable, that we could continue on. And so if you like the podcast, you want to continue, go to patreon.com/talkville, become a patron, lots of fun perks. Tom and I in the cameos. We're doing tons of cons. So look on my Instagram link at the Michael Rosenbaum and go to Linktree, and you'll see where we're making where we're making appearances. Also, please follow us, Ryan, at Talkville Podcast on all socials, right?
That's correct.
That's correct. And the hotline, again, everything is you can go to our handles and check stuff out. YouTube, write a review. It really helps the algorithm and gets us bumped up to top of the heap. Top of the heap?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, great. Without further ado, let's just burn into it. Let's rub one in. Let's get into it. Season 3, episode 16, Crisis. All right, well, here's the good thing. Not to give too much away, but I thought this was better than the last episode.
I agree.
And the one after this I watched, Legacy, is really good.
Forget it. Forget about it.
Forget about it. It's really good.
Should we just skip this one and go to Legacy?
No, because there's a lot of fun stuff in this one, and we got a great.
Right.
We got a lot of fun going on here. Well, there's some good stuff. Let's get into it.
This is I will say this. This is the heyday of the main. And what I mean by the main is the Lion's Maid, which Lionel Luther, hair on point.
The main.
I mean, come on. The main.
Oh my
attraction.
God. It was just locks flowing. Title Crisis aired March 3rd, 2004. Director Kenneth Biller. He was a weird guy. He was talented and I liked him, but he was a weird fella. He was
Alan Miles. The production loved him. The cast, if you're out there, I'm sure we'd get along. But I think
is it the
it
kind
was,
of thing where there's like a director who appeals more to the actors and a director who appears more to the technical side, and this was the technical you're saying?
Yeah.
I think Ken really appealed to everybody in post.
Yeah.
Everybody in post, including the creators and everybody.
He did a great job.
I liked him. I liked working with him, but I don't think he was a actor's director necessarily. He just kind of was very, he was first a writer, but he did a great job. He knows, he had a good team around him and he had some great ideas. But as I recall, I just remember that he knew what he needed. I think he worked close with Ken Horton, who kind of put the show together, and he knew how to Ken, I think, talked to him and says, this is what we need. This is what you got to get. This is what I want. And so a lot of these people, I don't want to call them pawns, but like in a TV production, even directors are a lot of times pawns. They'd come in and do a job and they have their own vision, but they can't really veer away into their kind of own thing.
Film is a director's medium. Television is a producer's medium. It's just, that's the reality.
Agreed. Writers, Kelly Sauter, Brian Peterson, guest star, look at this, Ian Somerhalder, Gary Hudson, Francois Yip, Terry Chin, Camille Mitchell, Aaron Pearl, Joanna Newmark, Daryl Hayes, Cedric de Souza as Dr. Bergen. Synopsis is Clark receives a message from the future and must fight against time to prevent Lana from being murdered. Lex exposes his father's unethical research and gets framed after getting too deep. Right away when I saw, this is, what this was, I was already kind of like, oh gosh, this episode, like this is what we're in for. And although there were some interesting parts, I still was like, the concept was just like, it was just beneath me.
This is one of those episodes that if you've seen the couple of episodes after, it kind of sets other things up, but
True.
as you're watching it, you don't know that.
True.
And so you're like, huh?
Ryan, you said what?
Oh, was this another one of those? Because a lot of them this season have been based off of because we saw
movies at the time.
Like John Q. We saw some other stuff. Like, yeah,
I hated all those movies, so I have no idea. Don't ask me that.
Like you saw them.
I never watched any of those movies. I don't like action, like that kind of stuff. I like action, but
I do.
Not like John Wick kind of stuff.
No, they're awesome.
I know.
I love that
You're
stuff.
a dude. I'd rather watch a documentary on aliens. Okay, the episode opens with Clark and Pete saying the name on the episode within 10 seconds as they talk about how Lana is bailing on her shift at the teen crisis hotline. As we learn the real reason why Pete volunteers his time there, Clark gets a phone call from none other than Lana. She's frantic, running away from a guy with a gun. She makes it outside, but is gunned down when the man puts a bullet in the back of her back. The second Lana shooting this season, also in Relic, if you recall. Clark's panicked. He tells Pete to call the cops, supersedes to the town. Surprisingly, though, he finds Lana and Chloe, just studying. The next day, Clark, Pete, Lana, and the sheriff head back to the youth center to listen back to the recording of Lana's call. The sheriff pokes at Lana for possibly pulling some kind of prank, and Clark tries to defend her, but the sheriff shuts him down. What kind of crap is this? Why am I hanging out with high school students listening to this thing? This is a bunch of crap. I mean, she just really goes for it.
It's only because it's a TV show that people really care. But Lana gets really upset that someone had the audacity to do something, to pull a prank like this.
Yeah.
When, let's find out if it's really anything. I don't know.
Yep. Clark and Lana take the recording to a local audio forensics expert, Chloe Sullivan. They hear rain in the call, but are confused because there hasn't been storms in months. Also, in the isolated audio, Clark is able to use super hearing to hear Adam yell, "You lied to me!" They put the pieces together that the recording came from the future.
Yeah.
The future.
Yeah.
Clark explains away his hearing abilities and attributes them to too many Linkin Park albums. That was from Bryce.
Oh, Linkin Park at this point.
Hey, Mr. Ryan,
fresh.
there's your shout out there from the.
I couldn't name one Linkin Park song,
yes,
or
you
one
could.
Good Charlotte song, or
You
one
could.
Charlotte is not the same.
3 a.m. or
3 a.m.
I don't know.
Down, down, down.
In the end,
What's it? Is it 3 a.m.?
Crawling?
How's in the end go?
I got so far, not so far. Wait. But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't really matter.
That's right.
Oh my God. You think that's good music?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
I think it's garbage.
It's better than the
It doesn't
imitators.
really
There's a lot of things
matter.
that tried to imitate that, but I think
but
they
it's
rose
just-
above. Can I just say, as an audio engineer, this scene bothered me
What was happening?
because they were way too good at it, like way too quickly. They were just like snipping things and like changing EQ. I was like, this is some professional shit.
Yeah.
And
I
am not
noticed that
good.
Clark is scoot over.
Yeah.
What?
75 words a minute. If anything, Clark Kent was from the future. He was already a reporter in Metropolis at the Daily Planet. Side note, you would think if this was how Lana dies, then the kid from hereafter would have premonitions of it happening. No? Remember the episode where he has these premonitions?
That's deep.
Or maybe
So right off the bat, you're like, this can't be true.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I don't know. Back in Metropolis, Lex confronts his father about the Ville, the secret lab, and his unethical use of human test subjects. Lionel tries playing dumb, but Lex pulls paperwork of how Lionel's serum is keeping patients alive while their bodies deteriorate. Lionel asks if he wants the project shut down, but Lex says he wants to be put in charge of it.
I thought that was cool. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. But I think Lionel's he's always toying with Lex, and it's like, what do you believe? Is he being nice to Lex? I mean, Some of these episodes I watched, I was like, oh my God, Lionel is a bastard. Like he's a bastard.
He's a little different now because, spoiler alert, he knows he's dying.
Well, while
so
I
he's
was
changing up his game a little bit.
I didn't even realize he was dying till the last episode. When did he realize that?
Well,
in Crisis, in this episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he realizes that they show you at the end of the episode, but having watched the episode and now we're rewatching.
Right, because he puts a gun.
This scene has a different tone. And John plays it beautifully, but Lex doesn't know.
True. Lionel leaves, pays a visit to Dr. Tang. He's upset that Lex was easily able to find the lab and the testing be done. He's shutting it down and threatens deportation. Dr. Tang goes to administer another shot to Adam Knight, who blows up after finding out that he's been being left in the dust as the lab is getting shut down. He only has 12 hours to live. So Clark goes to Luthor Mansion to talk about the future warning call, and Lex explains that he's not an expert on wormholes. Clark then exposes that he knows Lex has been communicating with Dr. Tang. Clark pushes him for Adam's location, but Lex explains that the lab is secured and he has no way of getting out. Immediately after they visit and see Adam has gotten out, Lex is very observant in this scene, by the way. After seeing 8 dead bodies in the lab ransacked, he says, Adam's gone? Adam's gone. Damn. Who's that? And who's that?
Damn, who's that?
Damn, who's that?
You can just walk through the dead
And
bodies.
Who's that?
Who's that?
And who's that? Damn, who's that? Who are they? Damn, who are they? Well, sometimes you just got to let believability kind of just push it aside. Got to push it aside and just go with the flow, I guess, sometimes, don't you?
Keep it moving.
After this, Lex visits his father, pissed off that Lionel's decision to close the lab has led to senseless deaths. Before he storms out, Lionel tells his son that he is now in charge of the project. Lex understands what his father is doing and tells him, clean up your own mess, Dad. Over at the Talon, Clark catches up with Lana and everything he's discovered in the last half of the day. Chloe interrupts them to share that her guy at the phone company tracked down the number who placed the call to the hotline to Gwen Burton. Clark suggests Lana hide out on the farm, but she is fearful and unsure they can prevent the inevitable. And by the way, last time she hung out on the farm and was there for safety, didn't Lex get her kicked by a horse? I don't know if you want to hang out at the farm. No thanks, Clark. Last time my leg looked like a shoehorn. Clark goes to question Ms. Burton at the hospital and warn her that her phone is going to be involved in a murder. She tells him that she left her phone with her husband. Clark then requests that she call him to make sure everything's okay.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
Leaving your phone with your husband is such a thing of that era.
Yeah.
Like, I gave my husband my phone. No one in their right mind would do that right now.
Yeah, my husband has my phone. But now,
Well,
you're right. Now it'd be like, where's my phone?
Yep.
Why do you have it?
They had one cellular phone as a family, and today was the day that he took it.
Yeah.
I mean,
As she calls,
Time capsule.
we see Adam, whose body is yellow and deteriorating, knocking him out and stealing his ride and phone.
So that scene was funny to me because Ken Horton had this thing where in an editor's medium, action going away from the camera is never interesting, but coming at the camera is interesting. And I slightly recall this moment where they were asking me to walk with my back to camera into this not fork in the road, I guess it's a cross in the road. And I remember being like, Ken said, you don't want to look at people's backs. And as you watch it, I walk in and then I do like a look around moment where I make sure I turn back the camera. And it was like a combination of Ken Horton and Back to the Future where like I played that moment. And for some reason, I remember that.
Wow.
I know.
I can't believe you remember that.
That's cool.
I know. I remember the weirdest things.
Lana's realizing that everything is starting to come true as key points in the story are lining up, like her sweater, the storm. Why didn't she just change her sweater?
Sorry. Also going back real quick, when he takes off in the Astro minivan, that's about as boring as when Clark gets on his motorcycle to go to Metropolis. Like, it's like one tire actually gets some dirt, and the Astro van just like takes off. It should have been like, it should have been like,
it was kind of dol, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, dol.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Talkville is brought to you by AG1. What would you and I do without AG1, Tom? We take it all the time. Even Bob Knudsen, who's a patron, who is a supporter of the podcast, he came up to me and goes, I swear, I'm just calling him out right now. He said, hey, I'm doing the AG1 you guys always talk about. And I go, okay, how you feeling? He goes, well, when you stop taking it, you certainly feel it.
Yeah.
And that tells you everything. I think most people, they don't want to take vitamins and pills and things in the morning. And I'm one of you guys. I don't want to do any of that. But this is so easy. And you're getting so many vitamins and minerals, in your system with just a glass of water mixed in with a little of this powder that tastes good. You put some ice in it, you drink it in the morning, and you're done. They have daily ones that you can take when you vacation, daily packets. This stuff is really good. If you're a longtime listener, you know that Tom and I have been drinking AG1 for a long time now, and it's something that's just in our life. It's a good habit. There's so many bad habits that we get into, and if you can incorporate a good habit into your life like this, it will change things. It's a game changer. The AG1 ingredients, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes for help with gut support, magnesium and B vitamins for energy support, adaptogens to balance my body's stress levels, vitamin C and zinc to help support my immune health. It's all in there in that little glass that you have every morning. Tom, do you notice a difference when you don't take it?
Well, I'll tell you, I've been getting more regular about taking it. Like I would take it here and there. I would take it when I think I was tired. But more recently, I've been waking up wanting to drink it even before coffee. And I don't even need sugar in my coffee anymore. There's something about AG1. I take it. I feel lighter. I feel faster.
I feel, you know what it is? I feel like I have more energy. I certainly feel more energy. And I feel like my gut, my stomach is good. Like even if I don't eat great, by taking this in the morning, I'm not having any gut problems anymore. I'm just not having gut problems. And I was always, my anxiety, things would cause gut problems. And I think they even say that your gut a lot of times will cause anxiety, if you have a bad gut, because you're like, I have to go to the bathroom. When am I going to have to go? Not to be crass, but this is life. This is health. And, my stress levels are down. They're more manageable. I just feel better. I feel like,
I also think I think when I take it, I think from a psychological standpoint, I feel better because I took it. Like I actually I made my bed. I had my AG1.
You know what? That's where
success.
They call it dopamine. That you get a little dopamine when you make your bed. You get a little dopamine when you're doing good things, like you're taking your AG1. You're like, okay, I did this. I woke up, I made my bed, I did this. This is only going to make you feel better about yourself and life. AG1 is a supplement I trust to help provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why we've been their partner for a long time. So if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Guys, go to drinkag1.com/talkville. That's drinkag1.com/talkville. Check it out. Talkville is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed.com. Indeed you do. Well, there's a reason why you're hearing that a lot, because a lot of people are using this. And I'll tell you what, if I would have known about this when I was like hiring for my podcast and this, it makes hiring easier. It just is. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Boy, does that take a lot of stress away from you. A lot of time. It saves you a lot of time. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all.
Indeed streamlines hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates.
With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US.
Candidates you invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in a search, according to U.S. Indeed data.
Indeed does the hard work for you. Indeed shows you candidates whose resumes on Indeed fit your description immediately after you post so you can hire faster. Indeed's hiring platform matches you with quality candidates instantly.
Even better, Indeed's the only job site where you only pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements.
Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/talk.
Claim your $70 credit now at Indeed.com/talk.
Indeed.com/talk. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. So yeah, things are starting to come true, like her sweater, the storm, even the rifle used to shoot her. Clark goes to Luthor Mansion and asks Lex where Adam may be headed to next, knowing he needs to seek out more serum. They get interrupted by 2 investigators from Metropolis who serve Lex a warrant connected to the 8 homicides inside the lab.
The lab that no one can find, including Lionel.
Yeah, and Lex is so nonchalant about it. It's like, what do you have? Well, I'm being framed. He's not gonna get too crazy about this. He's just very relaxed, which I like. He goes, "You're framing me." I like that he was calm. He was Lex Luthor. Chloe heads to the torch, and while inside, gets attacked by Adam. After seeing that she drove up in Clark's truck, he puts the pieces together and decides to head to the Kent farm to retrieve Lana. Adam drives the truck back with Chloe. They arrive at the farm and honk to get Jonathan's attention. He finds it strange that Chloe is just sitting motionless in the truck and not coming inside, but not weird enough to not go out there to help her. Jonathan goes outside and gets knocked out cold along with Chloe. To prevent any more damage, Lana agrees to go with Adam.
Anyone else notice that as busted up and as crazy as Adam is, the whites of his eyes are beautifully pure?
Beautifully pure. That should be
beautifully.
That should be
like
name
his eyes should have been like zombie red.
That's the name of a health education porn, like a very nice sex
pure.
education video. Beautifully.
Oh, I got creepy like Aryan vibes from that.
Jeez, that's not what I wanted. Back at Luthor Mansion, Lex is learning that his father is leaving him to hold the bag with relation to the lab and the crimes within. Clark pulls the "I'm a minor" card to get out of there and return to Lana before it's too late. Adam takes the kidnapped Lana to a storage unit where she placed all his belongings that were in the loft, the Talon loft. He holds her at gunpoint, asks her to find his books. He opens one that is hollowed out and empty. Adam begins increasingly more panicked as he discovers that a few vials he was storing away are now missing, and he's convinced that Lana took them, and the two begin fighting. She bashes him over the head with some chains and makes a break for it. Second Adam-Lana fight this season. So a lot going on. All these things are happening, coming true, and I'm sitting there going, oh, gosh. Whenever these things start happening and you're like, oh, she's wearing the sweater, she's doing this, it's all kind of, maybe he should have said, listen, you're going to wear this sweater, so don't wear it, because I saw it in the vision. And you're going to end up at this warehouse.
Well, he wasn't there when Jonathan gave her the sweater from upstairs, which, if you notice, Jonathan comes from upstairs and is like, here's your sweater. Like, where'd the sweater come from? But yeah, she needed it because it's Rain Tower stuff. You
why
keep
was the sweater warm. There?
Martha's closet? Look, just to piece the puzzle together. I bet this was a thrill to write. Like, as corny as it came out, I think, like, to write something like this where there's, like, pieces coming together at the end, I think that's fun.
No,
yeah,
you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have to see the discussion online, but I'm sure people probably enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a freak of the week, right? It was different.
I don't know. It's some version of the butterfly effect where, like, if something happened in the future, can you still stop it? And I don't think.
I don't know. You
obviously,
can't.
Clark
it's the future.
did,
You can't. Because who's to say that if you know about it and you're trying to change it, that's what the butterfly, that's what it's doing.
Yeah. I mean, have you seen the ending of the new,
where, based on your knowledge of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really
have
decide.
You seen the end? Have you seen the new Indiana Jones?
Yeah, I thought it was lackluster, average.
That whole thing with the thing, it's like, doesn't make any sense how the guy got it. Did he have it? How did he get the watch?
Yeah.
It's just all like, oh, it was a memory. Or
another movie where I spend 2.5 hours and go,
yeah.
Well, I ate a shit ton of popcorn and feel like crap. Clark heads home to check on things and discovers Lana's missing and his friend's family attacked. He is determined to head back to the crisis hotline to retrieve the call and try to figure out how the future message was relayed to try and prevent it from happening. As he picks up Lana's call, we can see the power line outside fall over, send a charge through some nearby kryptonite rocks, and that is what caused a time warp. Clark rushes outside so he can find out Lana's location. He then supersedes to the warehouse to deflect a bullet just in time before it hits her. She falls. He zips up his jacket over the bullet hole, and she's none the wiser.
I thought everyone looked beautiful in the rain. And I think the takeaway from this is Adam saying to Clark, he found me. How long do you think before he finds you? I thought that's the takeaway of the episode, is that Lionel Luthor's coming.
Yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a different story. After firing the shot, Adam collapses. Clark goes to check on him. Adam tells him he saw Clark's powers, like Tom just said, and realizes why Lionel sent him to watch Clark. How does his yellow makeup not get messed up in that rain scene? They put on it's a sealer. So a lot of times when you have makeup on and it rains or anything water, you're underwater, they'll put on a sealer so it kind of seals the makeup so it doesn't move around and stuff.
They did that on your head all the time too.
Mm-hmm. They did it on my head, especially for rain scenes. The next day at Luthor Mansion, Lex is being cuffed by Metropolis PD, but before he can be walked out, FBI storms in and tells him that this case has been bumped up to Varsity. Lex talks with FBI agent Loader and says that he wants to make a deal. Drop the charges and he'll help bring down his father. Pretty big event there.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was a good I think it was a good back and forth between you guys in that scene. The guy had his own weight, and you both found things out about each other in the scene. I thought that scene went really well.
Yeah, it's like, you're going down, Lex. We got everything on you. I'll help you bring down my father. Let this go.
I'm listening.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. You know what it is? Sometimes not to be condescending, but the children of the show, there's adult stories and there's children, or there's teenagers, let's call them, adolescents.
Varsity JV.
Well, when the adults are going through things, they're usually more interesting to, I guess, us. But when, Lana and that whole little kind of group and all this mysterious Hardy Boys meets Scooby-Doo kind of shit go on, I guess it's just for it's a younger audience that, we're not, it's like, Jar Jar Binks, kids probably loved him, but adults freaking hated him, so maybe, all the stuff we're like, oh gosh, because we want more adult oriented. We want more character driven. We want, we're like, but I don't know where I'm going with this. Back in Metropolis, we see Lionel welcoming his new project manager, Dr. Bergen. He stresses the urgency of their research because he has a unique terminal liver disease and it's running out of options. I didn't believe him at that moment. It wasn't until he was going to kill himself that I started to go, oh man, he's serious. Either that or he's having a bad day. We then see Lana and Clark talking in the Talon. She is researching time travel and questioning how Clark was able to get from the youth center to the warehouse so quickly. We also learn that Lana has more faith in Clark than the local PD.
I thought she did a great job. Lana did a great job matching her eyeshadow to her shirt color. I mean, that would be a Natalie thing, but it's perfect.
Yeah. The episode ends with Lionel looking at his diagnosis and then staring down the barrel of a gun. So, WB wasn't cool with Michael waving a gun at his head, but they're totally cool with a character eating a pistol. Interesting. Good call, Bryce. Makes no sense. But nothing they did made sense. Unless you have you're part of a streaming service now and it's a different world we live in. And Sopranos were the ones that started pushing the envelope, probably. You're not going to get away with it. They're going to be formulaic, sort of run-of-the-mill, kind of cool to look at sometimes, but you're not going to be able to push the envelope on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but listen, it's not up to us as actors. I learned this lesson very got slapped in the face. I did this horror movie that was horrible, and it was all based on the fear of God. And it was a remake of an earlier John Carpenter movie, and it's called The Fog. If anybody wants to check it out, please don't. And we're like in the middle of shooting this redo, and they're taking the fear of God out of it. They're taking everything that made the first one scary out of it. And I'm just because it was like because they want to appeal to more of a mass, and it didn't work. I'll tell you that, because it wasn't scary.
Well, that's
and
because
at the end of the day, if a horror movie's not scary, then you're not going to do well.
You know, my feeling is a lot of times today that it's not about
Trying to
creators.
Tease too many people.
It's not about creators. It's not as much about, big ideas or it's the people who run a lot of these companies are guys that studied marketing in university. And it's all about
that's who they answer
numbers.
to, yeah.
Like now a studio won't make a movie until the marketing department goes through the numbers and says, okay, yeah, this will make money. This will make us money.
Yeah.
And then if it says yes, then they decide. But it's not about, wow, this is a great idea. This is a good story. This is dark. It's more about what, and I know that a lot of these meetings were like, we need more of Lana and Clark. That's why they make out in Legacy randomly. We need Lex to have a somebody he's making out with. We need all these things. We need like the love triangle. They think that this is like, we need ratings. It's not about real story as much as it is ratings.
Well, and your buddy who now runs a studio, and I listened to your other podcast, and he so eloquently said about really caring about the story. And I found myself watching the latest incarnation, having to retrain myself as an audience member to not expect just what I've been seeing for the last 10 years in these big action movies. And they showed us a little something different. And it wasn't until the movie was over where I really started to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because it was different and it was good. And so anyway, he knows what he's doing.
Anything else we remember from this episode, Tom? Final Ian Somerhalder episode. I didn't work with him very much, so I have no idea.
Well, I've said this before. I've known Ian since I was 19, seen him off and on throughout the years. And I thought he did a great job in this role.
Yeah.
You didn't want the audience to like him. He was on his own thing. He imparted this knowledge to Clark, which I think is, like I said, the biggest takeaway of the episode. I don't know, I just thought when they got into the sci-fi future thing, it was a little off book, but I think it was, I thought it was cool. I think, Ryan, I totally agree. From a writer's standpoint, they must have been like, look, it all makes sense at the end. And, I love Cully and Brian. They're great. That's why they ended up running the show. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it would have been better if they had. No, never mind.
I don't think it could have been. I don't think this episode could have been better. I think it was as good as it could be.
The thing is, you have 1,000, or how many is it? Hundreds of episodes in a series, 22, 23 a year. You have to come up with new ideas. This was different. This was not Freak of the Week. They succeeded on a lot of levels. It wasn't a piece of crap. It just wasn't, it's not what I wanted to see. But again, I wasn't the audience, but now I am, and I'm telling you what I want. Now I'm the audience. Lots of guest stars in this episode. It feels like this season has a lot of PSAs to teens, drugs, street racing, psycho girlfriends, and this episode with the teen hotline. Interesting things of note. This episode was aired with a parental discretion advised warning at the beginning. The first episode to do so.
For what specific reason do we know?
Probably
Is it
the gun in the mouth.
Suicide. Well, the whole thing was about suicide.
Oh yeah, and suicide.
Don't put guns in your mouth and don't shoot people. Pretty easy, guys.
Yourself.
I mean, yeah, that was probably a big. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
parents were talking about that with.
And it's important. I wish there were more suicide hotlines and more. I just did this thing for Movember, and it's important. It's important for
it's
awareness.
Still November.
I will say that.
Well, it's coming up soon.
A little bit of takeaway from Pete's correspondence when he answers the phone at the hotline. If you notice, what he's saying is he's listening. He's asking, what have you done? What has the other person done? And then have you talked to them about it? And I think that's a big, very quick, interesting thing. This has happened to you. Have you talked to someone about it? A lot of times the communication itself can be very helpful. I don't mean to make this a PSA or whatnot, but I thought it was cool that they included those lines right at the beginning before we got into like the, hey, Lana, why are you calling me from the future thing?
Yeah. The van Adam stole had the license plate DD1035, which is the license plate of Principal Kwan's car featured in the episode Crush.
Who figured that out?
Why would anyone know that? How did you find that, Bryce? This is the second episode to show Clark's ability to literally change destiny, the first being Hereafter. And this is the seventh and last episode to feature Ian Somerhalder as Adam Knight. He is tied with Dr. Hardin, Grant Gabriel, Gina, Jeff Haig, and Fiora the Clone as the 10th most frequently seen recurring characters in the series.
So wait, so
I don't
that's
know any of those
tied
characters.
for 10th? Tied for 10th is something we talk about?
Yeah, I guess so. That's what Bryce listed. Without further ado, this is someone Tom and I dearly love, respect, miss. An incredible talent, made our days so much brighter and better. And without her, I don't think I would have gotten through the show. And
I agree.
yeah, without further ado, again, Natalie Cosco. All right, Natalie.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're here. Will you look at us? What are you doing? Typing? You're not even interested.
I'm turning your volume up. I can't hear you.
Well, for
There.
God's sakes, for heck's sakes, they're in Canada. Go for a rip.
Natalie, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with a nightmare hearing Michael's voice from like 20 feet away saying, Natalie?
For a couple of years there, I did. Yep.
Oh, great. Natalie, we just got done with the episode Crisis, and someone called in about the rain, and we were talking about working in the rain. What do you do? I said you had some kind of sealer or something that you put on the makeup so it doesn't, whatever. What do you do? What is your technique for that?
Yeah, I mean there are certain makeups in general that are designed to hold up underwater. So in those days, I would switch to those, and it still was a lot of running in, a lot of touching up between takes, and it's mostly, the majority of that is just trying to keep you guys comfortable, because it's really unpleasant to be out in that. And most of the time it was our coldest nights, as you recall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Vancouver would get Vancouver gets a wet cold. It's one of the only places I've been, and I've been a lot of places. I've done a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, but we would be on set, and the bottom of my feet would be cold. Not even my toes, but the bottom of my feet.
Yeah,
and it was really seeping in from the ground up. And I remember those nights because the only thing you want to do when we're done shooting is to go home, and you would be like, you're coming back to the trailer because you can't take that makeup off at home. It's a special thing. And all the actors are like, I just want to leave. And you're like, no, come on. We got to take care of you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, some of that was selfish because I also wanted to make sure your skin stayed in good shape so that I'm not fighting that.
Yep. In regard to that, you talk about sometimes, Tom, you'd have to stay after for the rain scenes, for that makeup, for her to take it off. But I was with Natalie 2 hours in the morning and a good 30 minutes after for her to take off my makeup, hot towels, and then she had to still clean up and then eventually get to her family. And, a lot of times you think of the actors, you're like, oh, the hours. But like when you deal with like makeup artists and, got any crew, their days start earlier than ours and end later. They're going to what on average? Do you remember, first, what was the longest day you could ever recall on Smallville? And second, what was the average day like?
I think the longest day was season 1, 18 hours. Yeah.
Was that the one with the machine gun where I shot the machine gun, that thing?
Oh, God, I can't remember. I'm not even sure I was awake.
Yeah.
I just remembered, that was a killer. And what was the other? What was the other question? What was the shortest?
The average day.
On average, 14, 15.
Yeah. How did you maintain like your personal life? Was that also a challenge to be at home? Still have you have kids, you have the husband, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was a challenge. I mean, Chris, Chris, he was always very supportive of what I do. So, that was awesome. And, there were
you need
times
that.
when I would say to him, okay, I'm home. I've got this much left in the glass and that's going to go to the kids. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
Yep.
None left for you. I'm going to fall into bed after
If I know Chris, he was probably like a little hello. Remember that? Chris was at this party with Natalie, and he had been drinking, and some I forgot, another makeup artist. They were just standing there, and they gave you just a hug. He's like, "What's that cologne or perfume you're wearing?" And she says, "Oh, it's aloe." And he goes, "Well, aloe." And I never forgot it. He was a riot. But Natalie, how hard was it to juggle all these actors? Like because I always needed you, I always trusted you, I wanted you there, but Tom also trusted you. So there was this almost, you had to have this map or this guide to I'll do this, and then I'll do Michael's, then I'll do this. Every day you have to work it out?
I want you to answer this, Natalie, but I would say that I think it was the opposite. I think Natalie was herself. I think with all the chaotic randomness that happens to her today, she had this sense of herself, this calmness that would actually bring us in. And, sometimes, we've talked about this before, but you were asked to do things for makeup and whatnot, and you would say no. You just had a sense of yourself that I think helped us all as a waypoint throughout the day. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Yes. I mean, I try to be that. The industry is crazy, and our days are like, everything's happening at once and crazy. So adding to that by having my energy be like that, that's counterproductive. So when I hire a team
member, do you hear that, Michael?
Yes, I do.
When I hire my team, I also make it very clear, and I also pick people that have similar kind of energy, because I just know that is the best way to keep things moving forward, and you do have to be strong and confident and organized. I mean, team is a huge factor, right? Having team members who understand, how to follow what a plan is and how to execute it. And then when they work with me long enough, they know what the plan is before I even have to set the plan out.
Yeah.
So
have you ever had to fire someone? Have you ever had to fire someone?
Yes.
Do you tell them?
What do you mean?
Like, are you the person that usually, like, studios will go, "Oh, have so-and-so fire them. I don't have the balls." Like, do you fire them yourself?
No, I told them. Yes, I had to tell them.
Have you had anybody who gets really upset? Why? What?
They were upset, and they weren't visibly angry, but they were upset, and
they're losing their job. Yeah,
but I think eventually I kept in touch with that person over the years, and I feel like she is now understands where it came from, But yeah.
I think I can only remember, and there may have been more out of my view site. There was only one person, and I won't name who they were, that was very good at their job, but it just wasn't a personality fit for their position on set.
Yep.
And I was like, it wasn't like my call, but when someone asked me, like, thumbs up or thumbs down, it was the only person I was like, kind of thumbs down, like, and when I never saw them again. And, it's hard because people are losing their jobs and they plan on that stuff, and you got to appreciate that. Yeah. Sometimes it's not a fit because this train is going, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a million miles an hour.
Natalie's so right. You're both right about this, that when you're working with people and there's a certain energy that almost you feel like, man, this could bring the ship down, or this could rub people the wrong way. And, because it was a very comfortable set. Everything was just as crazy and as chaotic as it was a family environment. Everybody knew each other's personalities. And when someone came on set and caused more drama or caused, created something that wasn't really there, it was like, gotta go. When I directed my movie, day one, I knew that I had to fire the sound guys. I knew it in my gut, and it was killing me. I had to. And my producer says, they're going to bring down the ship. They were like saying things to women and like just and I go, they got to go. And she's like, well, I'll let them go Saturday. I go, Saturday? That's 3 more days. And she goes, yeah, but we won't have sound.
Anybody.
Replacement.
We won't have sound. Yeah. So, Natalie, there's so many questions I want to ask you, but like, what is it about, like, when you're watching shows, is it hard for you? Or because like when we're watching, Tom and I were watching, we could see bad acting. We could see like, oh gosh, do you focus on makeup so much where it's hard for you to sit through any program because you're like, oh, look at that. Man, they must have used the cream 7.4 on that noggin. Like, what are you thinking?
I definitely zone in on what makeup looks like on a project. But, if it's done well, then I'm able to just let that go and just enjoy the film for what it is. If it's not done well, and unfortunately, it doesn't matter how great the film is. All the way through it, I'm going, what in the hell?
Yeah.
What in the hell? Why didn't somebody say something to them?
Well, I think this brings up something that, and I feel like Natalie and you, Michael, and Ryan, I don't think a lot of people watch things the way we do.
I know.
I watch other people watch things and they're on their phone and they're walking away. When I turn on something I want to watch, it's like I'm watching it.
Too.
Like I'm watching it on 4 different levels. You know what I mean? I'm just like really, really into it. And unless that's the case, I don't bother. And, most people I know who I watch stuff with, they're not there the whole time. And that's okay. Maybe that's why, Michael, you and I were talking earlier about the state of cinema and all this other stuff, because people are tuning in and out maybe 10 times a movie. They're not watching every second.
Yeah, so true. That drives me crazy. I can't have someone like that watching something with me. Because if they're asking me questions or they're like, so what should we do for dinner? Or what? I'd be like,
beat
it. I'm watching this.
Yeah, that's what I always say, Natalie. Put an egg in your shoe and beat it.
Yes, you do.
Hey, in the episode Resurrection, and I know you watched Resurrection and Crisis, but Resurrection, the eyes, the blood, like was that tricky? I remember you telling me something about the eyes, and they wanted it to be in the eyeball.
Yeah, when we had the production meeting for that, they talked about having the eyes bleeding and me putting some kind of blood product in the eye, and then have it trickle out onto the face, and I informed them right away that that's not a safe. You cannot put film blood in the eye. It is 100% unsafe, and I would not recommend it, nor will I do it. And then I explained that I can put it very close and have it blood running, and then you guys can augment something in the eye to create that. But it's that was a no-go. They were a little shocked. We were like, what? There's no blood that's made for the eye? No, there's no blood product that's made for the eye.
No, but you can jump in a tank full of water with people with their shoes and clothes and cars and everything else in the pilot, Michael, and you can open your eyes and that's
yeah, my eyes stung for a
So
month.
true.
I got gonorrhea of the eyes. Gonorrhea.
I remember doing an episode, Michael, where we had to do a cut above your eyebrow, and it had to bleed down.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember, but I very painstakingly created a path of blood ever so carefully around your eye so as to not make it look like it was directed to not go in your eye. Because truthfully speaking, if you had a wound and it bled down, it'd probably go in your eye. But yeah, there was a lot of time spent making sure that didn't actually run into your eye.
Yeah. when you're looking at episodes like Crisis, when you go back and watch them, are you a little embarrassed? Are you actually like, oh, that's really cool? And I mean, how do you look back on like this show? Because it was really it was all our big starts. I mean, this show got you where you are now, and they got us where we are now, talking to you on this podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, oh, for sure. I mean, there was a progression of learning for me as time went along. I mean, when I started Smallville, I had...
You always seem like you knew exactly what you're doing. It just did.
She faked it.
It's all an illusion.
That's all an illusion.
Yeah, well, I started with 10 years experience. So, I mean, I had a pretty good idea. But, yeah, Smallville had such a multitude of options for me to create different looks. I mean, there were always some disease or some illness, or there was like major wounds and, explosions. And, so it really, I was able to stretch and exercise. And yeah, when I look back on it now, some of it I think, I probably should have done that over in this area instead of up here. And, and Beeman's zone of beauty was very much,
the triangle.
Yep.
Yeah, was very, very prevalent in a lot of those choices. But yeah, I'm my own worst critic. I mean,
I get caught up watching things now because when I see huge feature films and that zone of beauty is so represented in the makeup, and I'm like, I wish I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Hey, Natalie, I don't want to keep you, but I want to ask you, I'm always curious about, you guys are working nonstop every day. You don't have a day off. It's 8 days main unit, sometimes your second unit. You're doing 14, 15 hours a day. You have a family. When do you have time to read the next script and prep for it? And some of these things and join in these meetings to see what the hell they're talking about, the tone meetings and all these things.
Yeah. No, it's, you do it all at work while you're there. And, and I have my team cover set, those times when I had to disappear, that was probably because I was either reading a script and breaking a script down, or I was attending a meeting, a production meeting or a tone meeting, and, or a special meeting that was called, for if it was a particularly big makeup, episode. It's all done there. Thank God for technology.
Did you ever have
helps.
a breakdown? Technology does help. Do you ever have any breakdowns where you're like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't catch up. I need a day off. I'm freaking out.
I had one breakdown on Smallville, and actually, Michael, you were witness to it.
What?
You don't remember it probably.
I do remember you crying once.
I had a breakdown once because it was a particularly difficult day, and I was trying to manage where I needed to be where I was most important for me to be. And one of my team members did not inform me that you had arrived. And so I remained on set. And then about 45 minutes after, I realized, wait, Michael's arrived 45 minutes later. And I came back and I was quite angry. I was just quite angry that they did not tell me that you had arrived.
Did you lose your shit?
Because I had mapped out what I needed to do with your makeup, and I needed to start it, and then I was going to leave you and have someone finish it. But me not being there meant that someone else had started it, so on and so forth.
But it also means when you're walking in a situation, it's all going to be blamed on you, no matter what happened. Mm-hmm. It's all going to come at you, Natalie. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Michael's going to be like, where have you been? I've been here for 45 minutes.
Yep.
The set is like, why isn't he ready? And it's just like, it all comes just crashing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie.
Because nobody cares.
Do me a favor. Can you reenact what you said to the person, or get your anger back so I could remember it? Then Did you lose your shit though? Were you like, I have to know about, did you really raise your voice? I don't remember.
I believe I threw some stuff around.
Oh.
Yeah. I
Wow.
took my coat off and I threw it on the ground, and I was like, one thing I asked you to do was tell me when he arrived. They just started your makeup. They just went ahead. So you probably didn't even realize they just went ahead and started. And, but, you know, it just was a matter of that. And that is literally the only time that I had any complaints with my team. And, you know, they were tired. They, for whatever reason, they thought, oh, you know, let's not bother Natalie on set. Let's just get started.
I tell you what, you can't, in the few things that I've done in the last few years, you cannot sit into a hair or makeup chair without that person going, oh, good to see you. And they have to let someone know. There's like such a thread now.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all timestamped.
Yep.
And they want to make sure, like, well, he was 5 minutes late, so I'm texting you that he's 5 minutes late. You know what I mean? And it's
back
all
in my
one.
day, I had a book. And I don't know, you guys probably never noticed, but each of the team members had a book, and they would write down when your ass hit the chair.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Well, listen, Natalie, we love you. We've been on longer than we probably should have taken your time, but we want to have you back again when there's some other big episode. We adore the crap out of you. You're one of our favorite people in the world, and we love you.
Oh, love you guys too. And yes, I would love to come back anytime.
How do you not love that woman? I mean, you know, just love her.
Oh, she's very special. We owe a lot to her. Her presence and her frequency and vibe on set gave us like a home base all the time. It was very constant and warm, and yeah, we love her.
Now it is time for the hotline. Talk. All right, this is it, man. We got a lot of great questions coming up. The number is 213-JET-CUTE, JETCUTE, 213-JET-CUTE, I believe. We could find all this information on my link tree at the Michael Rosenbaum and on at Talkville podcast handles and all that stuff. Any information you need is there. It's right at your fingertips. But we're going to start out with patron privilege, patreon.com/Talkville. If you want to join, there's a lot of privileges, and you support the podcast and make it happen. So right now, let's go. This is Jen. Jen, what you got for me?
Hey guys, Jen from Seattle here. I noticed that in this episode there's lots of rain, so what are your thoughts on filming in that kind of torrential downpour? I'm used to it here in Seattle. And also, I just wanted to say the favorite line I had, best line from the sheriff. Unless Ms. Lang has grown several inches and developed an affinity for plaid, this would be a good time for you to pipe down. Thanks, guys.
I agree, Jen. I wrote that down as well.
Did you write that down?
I did.
Yeah.
Ryan's favorite scene. Ryan's favorite scene right there.
Yeah. Filming in the rain it's never really fun. It's usually, you know, cold as hell. It's usually at night. It's usually,
I like it.
You know, running around. You know, it's not as glamorous as you might think. It may look cool in the end.
I disagree.
You like
so there's
it?
I don't know if I like it. It's hard. It makes it more difficult, but that extra element makes everything more. It's like why every funeral we ever have in Smallville, it snows or rains. It's like an extra element that adds emotionality. And, you know, it's hard. You end up wearing like neoprene shorts or doing all these different things to keep yourself warm in the rain. And it's slower and it's more difficult. But I always feel like the scenes have more gravitas as a result. And
You're right.
it also depends on if they spent the extra $2,000 to warm up the water before because you can get rain towers and you can put water on your actors.
Yeah.
But if you spend $2,000 more, it's warm water. That's helpful.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't always
true.
do that.
I guess for me being bald, it was like, here goes my makeup. Here goes
Well, that's completely different.
And all that shit. So that's what I remember.
Hey, it's Thomas the Leaf Blower from Niagara Falls, Canada. I have a question for the Season 3 episode Crisis. Now, we get to see Pete almost do something. He almost picks up the phone, but Clark comes in at the last second, picks it up instead, and it kind of puts a bow on the whole what's been going on with Pete this season, how he's slowly kind of getting edged out. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, he's just not around as much, and they're taking more and more away from him or not giving him enough, and, you know, it sucks. It's sad, but, you know, I don't know. I think I wasn't aware of it at the time because I didn't have any scenes with Pete, so I with Sam. So maybe Tom can elaborate.
I just think he's unfortunately he's the sidekick, but he's not part of the love triangle. You know, I love Sam. I love Pete. I love it when he's in episodes. You've heard this on the podcast before. Maybe, but like if he got an internship at Luthor Corp, like, would that have been interesting to watch? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's McBurt's. What's that, Ryan?
I mean, that was kind of like a blatant, like, get out of the way, Pete moment. I kind of felt that because he's like in the crisis hotline. That's like his place where he helps people. And then suddenly Clark very visibly butts in and is like, nope, I got it.
Yeah, I didn't take it like that. I just I thought of it like, well, Clark's the lead in the series. He's like it's Clark Kent. He's got to do all these things. So that's because maybe he heard something is super hearing. So I didn't really think about it like that. But I understand what you're saying.
Maybe just because we know that he's because we know that he's getting edited out. I think that's why it was probably more obvious.
I mean, listen, as the seasons go on, where a character named Cyborg is introduced. Like, what if Pete would have become Cyborg? But that's all easy to look back on and try to make those things. I don't know.
I don't know.
That feels like it should have happened.
Yeah, that should have happened.
This question is for the episode Crisis. This question is for Tom or Michael. It seemed like the storyline was loosely pulled from the movie Frequency. Do you guys like it when episodes pull from movie themes? Thanks.
What movie?
Yeah, the movie Frequency. That kind of like future kind of thing happening.
I didn't see it.
Do I like it? I don't know. I like things when they work. I like things when I watch them and I don't think, oh, they modeled that after that, or oh, that's that, or I just want to watch something and go, wow, I really bought into that. That's how I look at it.
Frequency came out in 2000, starring Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
And an accidental cross-time radio link connects father and son across 30 years. The son tries to save his father's life, but then must fix the consequences.
Interesting. Here's a Treese. I think it's a Treese.
Interstellar.
Alice?
Hi, this is Apree from Oakland, California, calling in for Crisis. I thought the themes of time and regret were striking. It got me thinking about how references to the real world are used. For example, Clark says he missed too many Linkin Park concerts. This is joking response to how he could hear Adam on the call recording. So I wanted to know, what's your opinion on bringing in real world references to dialogue? Do they stand the test of time? Thanks.
It's always tricky
I'm not
to do that.
I'm not a fan.
It does, like, you think at the time, like, no, this is big news. Like, no one's getting, and then all of a sudden 5 years later, you're like, it was kind of lame. Doesn't hold up. So it's better to probably keep that stuff out unless it's such pop culture that it really references like the history of sort of like media or whatever, you know, like something that is so in the nomenclature, I guess.
I think it's harder in comedy writing, especially if you watch like an old sitcom and they make, like if you watch it at the time, like, oh man, that's a great joke. And then you try to watch it 10 years later and then you watch the same joke. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that. But oh boy, I don't know if that works anymore.
Yeah. Here's John.
You mean like references to Linkin Park?
Hey, Michael and Tom. This is John from Yorktown, New York. I'm calling for Season 3, Episode 16, Crisis. My question is for both you guys. I remember watching this episode live when I was 12 years old, and there was a viewer discretion advised before the episode started. My question is, do you think this episode was dark enough for that to be warranted? And was there any other episodes throughout the series that you thought maybe should have a viewer discretion advised? Thanks, guys.
Maybe the Shattered one. Look, I don't know. I think, you know, him putting a gun in his mouth, suicide hotline, sensitive subject matter, Lana getting shot in the back. You know, I don't think today that would be like nothing happens in this episode. That would be the.
I don't know if I would change it or not. I probably wouldn't change it, but I know that I was just at a con, and you and I get this a lot where we meet people who grew up on the show. Now we're watching it with their kids, and they can't wait to show their kids. You know, and what age you decide to show your kids. It could be 5, it could be 8, it could be 15. And it could be that when maybe you have a kid who's a little bit younger, this one episode, it goes, hey, parents, just so you know, this one's going to be a little different. Maybe it's helpful.
Yeah.
Because I've met people who watch it with their 5-year-old kids. You know, it's like, so
I agree.
I think it's trying to be helpful. It should probably be at the beginning of every episode, to be honest.
Yep.
Hey, Tom and Michael. This is Sandro calling from Philadelphia. Adam is, dying from the poison or from his, not getting the medicine. And the doctor gives him the medicine, but is ready to kill him right afterwards. I'm really curious, like, why would you want to strangle him and not just let him die of the medicine in a few hours? Thanks. Love the show, guys. Love you guys.
Huh. I don't know. Adam's dying from not getting the medicine, so why would the doctor inject him and then decide to kill him instead of just letting him die by not getting the meds? I don't know the answer to that, but I see what he's saying.
I see what he's saying, but I think the idea of her pocketing the serum and injecting him, I think her idea was she was going to help him, and then she realizes when he takes it and does it himself that he's not who she wants him to be, and that's why she decides to try to kill him.
All right, I'll buy that.
That's how I try to make sense of the question.
Yeah. There's Sandro.
Hey, this is Natalie from Michigan. I want to know what your guys' feelings are on the final reveal at the end of the episode with Lex's dad basically revealing that he is dying. And the entire scene with John Glover and the gun at the end, I thought was done absolutely beautiful. You have a character that's gone from being able to control every aspect of his life to not being able to control his own body. So just wanted to know what you guys thought of that.
First of all, I want to say once again, now thinking about it, that Ken Biller did a really good job with this episode. I mean, this is how it was written, and he made it better. I mean, obviously. Look, at this point, if I'm a viewer, I'm like, good. I mean, you're a terrible person. You've caused the demise of so many people. I don't really have a lot of feelings towards Lionel. I thought it was, you know, and also it was kind of cowardly, maybe. Like, you know, hey, you know, you're just because you have this disease, you're not going to fight it. At least give it a shot. At least, you know, I don't know. It's a sensitive subject, but I just feel like, I don't know. Tom?
I thought it was an interesting and well-written turn of events that this guy goes from ownership, power, and destruction for his own gains to now turning around and seeing what his legacy might be. And what you'll see in the next episodes, you're going to see more of Lionel because now he's more focused on his legacy, and you're going to see him in Smallville more often because that's the key. And we'll see that especially in the next episode. So I thought it was a great turn of events. I mean, what more can you ask for in a character development?
Huh. This is Jean and Ruth and Jean. My grandma was Ruth, but my grandpa was not Jean.
Hey, this is me and Ruth here in Florida. Why is it that every time somebody's in trouble, they call Clark? Like, nobody ever picks up the phone and calls 911. Everybody just picks up the phone and calls Clark, yet nobody knows how he's always there in the nick of time to save the day. So, and then after they get saved, in that moment where she's like, how'd you get all the way from the hotline to here in like 2 seconds? And he's like, well, it didn't take 2 seconds. You're right. It took like half a second. So how have they not figured it out yet?
I know. It's just stupid. I'd rather them not even ask that question at this point. It's like, how did you get there? How did you get it 20 times saving me in the middle of it? How did you know where I was, Clark? How did you get to the Ferris wheel, Clark? How did you know I was here, Clark? How did you know? I mean, stop asking the questions.
How did you get here? And I still need to keep my distance from you. Well, stop calling me when you're in trouble. Let's start there.
Well, they know Clark is going to take... Why they call Clark is because they know Clark's going to take it seriously, and Sheriff Snark is just going to make a sassy quip.
Where are you? Yeah, we got better things to do than to be over there.
Do you guys remember back in the day of probably when this episode aired, those flip phones? You could probably still do this now, but remember you could assign someone's phone number to like a number. So if you held down number 1, it would call that person.
Yeah.
And there's like a Seinfeld joke out there where like he's not number 1 in somebody's phone. I don't remember the joke, but he figures out he's not number 1 anyway. But like, I think that's what happens. Somebody falls down, they open their flip phone and they just hit 1 and it's Clark Kent. I don't know.
All right. We got to get through a couple of these because we're going to talk to an awesome person here in a second. So let's get through this.
All right. Rapid fire.
Hey guys, Jen T here from Brunswick, Maine. As we see Lex's character progress further on in the series, we start to see many moments where he gets very teary-eyed without shedding a tear. In this case, it was noticeable as Lex is talking to the FBI agent about taking down Lionel. I'm just curious to know, Rosie, if you were aware that you were getting teary-eyed or if that is something that was actually scripted for you to do during these intense scenes. This happens in future episodes as well. And either way, every time I see Lex tear up, it just pulls at my heartstrings. Thanks, guys. Keep up the awesome work.
Everybody doesn't want to cry in front of people. Nobody wants to get emotional in front of anybody. They try to keep it in. In fact, when you have to cry in a scene, humans are mostly, I don't want to cry. How can I stop myself from crying?
Especially when it's in the script.
But it's never been in the script. But what I wanted to do was not just say the lines of like, I'll help you take my father down, but it hurt me to say that. So I wanted you to see that I cared about what I was saying, even though it was such a bad thing to be doing. But, you know, I would tend to do that sometimes because I thought it would add something to you know, because Lex is usually strong and stoic. All right, international folks. Rhea. I feel like this episode confirmed that Lana knew for quite some time that Clark had powers, but she just wanted him to tell her. Do you agree? You think she still didn't know? I think she probably knows deep down that there's something going on, and she's smart enough. She has to be smart enough.
Wow.
Well,
Clark, how did you get here so fast?
I didn't
just
get here
talked
that
about
fast. I got here fast.
I'm not saying she's not smart. I think she doesn't know what it is, but she knows there's something she doesn't know.
Yes. Caitlin, I've always loved the bullet scene in the rain, but there's a physics discrepancy that I've always thought about. By the time the sound of the gunshot reached Clark, traveling to the mic on Lana's phone, then coming out through Clark's speakers after a slight delay, and Clark mentally processed the sound and reacted, it would have probably been too late for him to save her. I never thought about it that long.
All right, so
Caitlin's
I've been in these
smart.
meetings, I've been in visual effects meetings.
You're smart.
Where you have two people from the visual effects people, and they're saying, hey, this is what we want to do with the script. What do you think? And the person who says what she just said, they go, yeah, okay, but how do we do it? Like at a certain point,
Yeah.
you know, they're more worried about if the bullet is going to hit the rain. Is the rain falling at the right speed as the bullet's going? Like,
Is the rain falling? I mean, what are we doing? All right, Rosenbaum rating system. Ryan.
Rosenbaum rating.
Half.
Tom.
1.
Half. I give it a half, which is pretty good for me. All right, there you go. Death count.
Death and save
count. 9 dead. Adam kills 8 people in the lab, and then he himself dies again. 1 saved. Clark saves Lana. Through 16 episodes in season 3, 27 dead, 25 saved. Series 86 dead, 95 saved. Ryan's favorite scene. He's going to write down 3 scenes, and we are going to guess which one. Here we go.
Scene 1, the cold open, where you're like, what the hell's happening? Scene 2.
Wait, what happens in the cold open?
It's like where the thing where Clark gets the call and then Lana gets shot.
Okay, yeah.
Where Lana gets shot.
That was the opening. All right.
Scene 2, where Clark thwarts the cold opening with the bullet in the rain and all that stuff. And scene 3, Lionel's final scene of the episode with the gun.
Hey.
Lionel's
We all love a good Lionel
gun.
scene.
Dog days just begun. What did Lionel do? He probably did something to me and you.
I'm going to go rain. Bullet in the rain.
Ooh, I hear bullets in the rain.
You just gave Michael a song idea. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
Yeah, rain's kind of cool. I got to go with that too.
I went with Lionel.
I was going to go Lionel.
I died.
I was going to go Lionel.
Damn it.
Bummer.
That one put me on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my God, we're really doing this? And it just, John Glover's
You know,
great.
This is the 3rd time in like 48 hours I didn't follow my gut. Damn it.
I should have too. I should have. I forgot the whole second scene entirely. I just was like, I'll go with Tom on this one. All right, that's it for the episode. Stick around next week as we leave an impact by reviewing season 3, episode 17, Legacy. This one's going to be a lot of fun.
Good one.
We really
Good
like
one.
this one and a lot to talk about. Let's get to the discussion. Let's get the discussion online. Let us know your thoughts on the episode over on our socials at Talkville Podcast. Show your support by joining Patreon. If you really want to support the podcast and keep this going, if you're having fun with this, imagine it's less than a streaming thing. You know, people pay for streamers, whatever. Get back to the show if you want it to continue. Patreon.com/Talkville.
Yeah, it'll help.
We love you. It helps. It makes it possible. If you want more info like merch from the show or hotline number. You can find all that in the description and any other information you might want.
I sent you a picture of the woman I met this weekend at a con who had the first hand blast t-shirt.
Are you?
That I've ever
yes,
seen.
that's right. I got to have a hand blast shirt. Remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville. And we can't forget about our lovable patrons. Without you, we couldn't do this podcast, period. I said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. We can't do the podcast without you. Patreon.com/talkville. Here are the shout-outs. Tom's burping. And here we go. Tom, take us off.
Yeah, that was my mom's chili. It's amazing. Wish you guys could try it. Nikki G, Leanne P, Raj C, Santiago M, Little Lisa, Thomas Elite Blower. Thank you for your questions. Sophie M, Betsy D, Ray H, Karen Apple M, Danielle B, 99 more, Leilani, and Brett G. Always hold on to Smallville, Estevan G, DJ Kento in the house. Garrett W, Kimberly L, Tom N, Jason W, Osama A, Lana, rhymes with banana, W. Yes, I said it like that again. Nancy D, Brian G, Sarah W, Amanda R, Teddy127, Michael P, Theo M, Ryan R, Jordan M, Hillary B, Randy B, Craig G, and Christy R.
Karen P, Jor-El, Heather and Craig, Nico P, I made Smallville say butts, Brian H, Eric K, brought to you by AG1, Kristen B, Craig C, Nanine W, Stephanie K, Darth Achilles, brought to you by BetterHelp, Finky, Tamara, H, Stephen F, damn, who's that? Jeanette E, Deadvid, General Zod, Big D, Doug R, Carlos C, Tommy Z, Boston 68, Kendall Limerick Sky, Corey L, Mr. Home Arcade, Amanda K, Jesse C, Claire M, D Brown, Karenera M, Eldon Supremo, Leslie V, McBurts, Ginger Moose, Christoph S, Michelle M, Drew, Brittany S, Marisol P, Michael Kane doesn't blank, Sebastian F, Sourpuss Cranky Pants, Matthew and Lincoln B, Carol B.
The Coopers, always loved meeting you guys. Marion Louise L. C. Glow?
Geo.
C. Glow.
C. Geo.
Is it Geo?
C. Geo.
It looks like an elf. It looks like an elf from here.
You're blind.
Cindy C. Nikki L. Bish. Bash. Bosch's Lemon Pledge. Good for you. Shannon. Rams with Faux Shannon. M. Brian S. Tina E. Matt R. Anthony R. Jen T.
Wait,
Gentle.
You said Matt R. Anthony R.
Matt R. Anthony R. Jen T.
Oh,
Jess T.
Oh,
Cassie B. Felicia R. Danny M. DS underscore the underscore RN. I know Michael says it differently. JS. Rachel D. Gingerous Prime, and Nate D. When you're rich, you're not crazy, you're eccentric. Paul W. Jonas 1. Love the Jonas Brothers. Samantha S. Starkville's House of L podcast. Okay, guess they have their own podcast. Sage C. Spicy Brown says, Carrie A. The Alexander Castle. Kyle F.
We love you. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you next time.